looking at our depth charts, like names, black and white names, but no football being played or anything, looking at the depth charts and seeing a position and then saying, man, you got to get that position, but a player has to play that position. And so that's why I've always been saying, look, we want to get good players, because if you get a guy that can play a position and say, look, like, what was the question that you asked, Brad? The 50th time you asked pass rushers, like, well, you can draft a pass rusher every round. You could. It's easy. That's just like if a coach told me, man, we want a guy that's 6'4", 250. If we got a guy 6'4", 250, that's easy. You want a guy 6'4", 250? Yeah. I don't know if he's a good football player, but he'll be 6'4", 250. Where the same as, yeah, you can draft a defensive end. If the player playing defensive end is not what we feel is going to be the right guy to really contribute to our football team, then what are you guys going to write about that player? You guys, man, that's not working. So we're not going to reach on players just to fill a position. So that's what we won't do. But it's just, you said, like, you're always trying to figure out what we're going to do. I don't, like, when, like, a movie comes out, right? Like, I don't understand. When you go to see a movie, you don't know what you've never seen the movie. That's the excitement. And so you're fine just watching the movie. And then whether the movie's good or bad, and then you can do that. But I don't understand why people can't just watch the draft. And it's like, all right, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but watch the draft and get your popcorn ready and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Dropping bars for guys known for like killing it in the draft. Just get your popcorn ready.
That was
and let me cook. That's fucking bar.
That was a notorious crash out for sure.
Like you asked, Brad,
looked at
for
Nick.
the 50th time about it. That's rush.
Yeah, he looked right in Nick's face and said, "Nick, I don't care what you think we need. We're gonna get the best fucking player imaginable. We're gonna get the best guy, the best football player, and then we'll get him out there somehow. And then we'll get him out on the field somehow."
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, if it comes down to pick 28, that's what we've been saying for weeks now. Brad's not going to force the hand to draft his edge number 5 if his wide receiver 2 is there.
Absolutely.
And that's how you end up with a Matthew Golden. He drafts the best player available. Needs, I think he brought it up perfectly. It's a forever, never-ending chain of events.
You're going to need something every year.
Every fucking year.
Every year you're going to need something.
And if you're just drafting a need, you're not drafting the best player available. You're just drafting a guy to fill a spot on your depth chart. And that's how it's a dangerous way to play. Because you may draft a guy that sucks. And you just wanted the position. So I'm going to draft the best player available because at some point that is going to become a need.
Yeah. And you know you're going to – and we've talked about how they like to get these guys on the field any way they can. They like to get their best players on the field any way they can, looking at Jack Campbell playing Sam snaps to start his career. He's not a Sam linebacker.
Nope.
And it's Rakestraw getting snaps at nickel. He's not a nickel cornerback.
Nope.
He's Sion Vaki playing running back, special teams, safety. Malcolm Rodriguez playing snaps at fullback. They like to draft good football players and then get them on the field any way possible because you never know what can happen. And I think Lions fans should respect that after what happened last year. You can look great at paper, look great at a spot, look good, boom, 10 injuries. What are you going to do now? You have different needs now. So, yeah, I understand. That's why I think he's going to trade back. And that's why I want him to trade back. Because that gives you more good football players to put in different places that you can adjust your picks around and then have the freedom to sign your studs. And then you know, okay, we have a guy for 4 years that can play interior defensive line or defensive end or somewhere else. Okay, we got this kid, Jihad Campbell, for 4 years who can rush the passer, play in coverage, and be a linebacker. We know we're going to need somebody at one of those spots eventually. So that's what he's getting to, and yeah, that's why I think the trade back is way more of a reasonable scenario.
I want to do like this for Nick. Last year, Detroit Lions stay healthy. Would you have said they're a Super Bowl team?
Yeah, they were right there for sure.
And they're getting a lot of those pieces back, right?
Yeah, partly.
So you have a core. Who's missing?
Well, you don't know what Aleem looks like yet. You don't know what Davenport's gonna do when he's healthy.
But Davenport was a tricep injury. I think he'll be fine.
For how fucking long? Come on.
I mean, that's fair, but still, even with him out, they were still a very good defense for a few good weeks, right? Like they're a good team. I think between
They were a
Hutchinson,
good team.
very great team. I'll go great.
They were 15-2,
caliber.
man.
Let me
You got
finish
her
real quick
week
though.
3.
Let me finish though,
Yeah, I
because
got my point after.
caliber wise, just the nucleus of this team: Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs. You have like your star players.
Yes.
You're not out there reaching for another star. If you know this group of players can get you to Super Bowl caliber team success, the best way to keep that nucleus in place is to trade back and get those affordable contracts to suffice the starter pieces around them. And that we can afford the contracts that these guys are going to have to demand of the market. And by the way, they're worth those contracts because they're good fucking players. That's why you're going to keep these guys around. You're not in here searching for another star. It's just at pick 28, it's rare that's going to happen in the first place.
And I'm going to say one thing. We haven't gotten to the Super Bowl yet, first of all.
Correct.
That is one hump we need to get over. The second hump is actually winning it. When Patrick Mahomes has lost in the Super Bowl twice, what happened, fellas?
His offensive line fell apart.
The defensive line terrorized him. In both Super Bowls, they took over the game where Mahomes didn't look close to even half of what he looks like when he is upright all the time. Half of it. He looked brutal. The defensive lines took over that game where you beat an elite quarterback. We haven't even got to the Super Bowl yet. So we can talk about 15-2, and I love this team because obviously we're all thrilled. We came from the bottom, obviously. But there are expectations once we do get there. We got to win the goddamn thing.
Absolutely.
And to do that, you need to go after those elite quarterbacks. We have Broken Aleem coming back. I have faith he will finally get to shape when it is time to get into the playoffs and do so. We got Reeder, who's aging another year. Davenport, injury prone.
1 year.
Can't sack Pascal.
One year.
He can't sack the quarterback. You think about second rounders. I think about Pascal. I think about Levi. Two guys that haven't really panned out for a guy that you're taking in the second round. That's why I have more faith to get his guy that's going to produce more in the first round. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
That's what you want.
Yes.
That's what you want. But it's probably
And
not
that's
going
what
to
I
happen.
believe. That's what I believe. That's how you should do it to win a Super Bowl.
And by the way, this defensive line, this defense as a whole, was that terrorizing defense before the injuries. Like I understand we fell short, but we didn't fall short because the roster wasn't good enough. We fell short because the roster died on the way there.
Yeah, and you're 100% right, Nick. You need a good pass rush, and you need to get to the quarterback if you're going to win Super Bowl. And guys like Josh Pascal and guys like Levi Onwuzurike were not good enough coming down the stretch. And the Lions need to get pieces back. They need to get pieces that are going to rush the passer, especially late in the season, in the playoffs, and in the Super Bowl. They need guys who are going to sack the passer. Good thing they're getting a top 5 defensive end in the NFL back. Because I think Aiden Hutchinson being there is going to make a lot of people's lives a lot worse. And like Easy said, you got your studs. They just can't die. And then you need to draft other pieces to supplement them.
You need to maintain them too.
Yeah.
And those other pieces help supplement the starting pieces around them that you can afford to depart from. Starting with an example of the guard we lost this year in Kevin Zeitler. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a rookie contract to fill that in. Christian Mahogany, boom.
And the Eagles' defensive line was elite in the Super Bowl as well, and it absolutely was. And they had a great rotation of guys that they bring in there, and they go out there and that attack the quarterback. But what was more important was them having 21 of 22 day one starters playing in that Super Bowl. That's the most important thing.
You need that depth to get there.
Yep.
Trading back gives you that.
But
The
they
other
have
thing
to
I
hit
want
on
to say
it,
too.
And
They
like,
have to hit on it. I've seen like in the chat, you're going to get the 5th best defensive lineman or 5th best defensive end. So you're going to get the 8th and the 9th and think that's going to get the job done and get you there?
Well, the gap between the
There's
fifth
not
and
that
the
big of a
fifth best
difference.
guy and the eighth
Yeah.
best guy is very
There's
minimal.
not that big of a difference. When you after the top
To
4
us,
edge
we don't
rushers,
know what his board looks like to us.
But I'm just saying boards in general though. Like when you
Yeah.
get to like your fifth and eighth spots, like the difference is very minimal.
after the top 4 guys go to position, 5 through 7, 5 through 8, it's who's going to be better out of those guys. You can't really tell.
Defensive line was Hutch a can't miss.
Yes,
Correct.
absolutely.
Aleem, phenomenal hit in the 3rd.
Yes.
Phenomenal hit for Aleem. Needs to get back healthy. Pascal and Levi, in my eyes, were misses. This is a spot where we have not seen Brad Holmes draft consistently in the 2nd round for defensive line. Maybe that's a little bit in me that wants it to be a certain 1st round guy. Maybe it's me a little bit gun shy
And that's
when
what
it
I need
comes
to know
down to
the
it.
name. That's because, like, where they're drafting. Like, I gave you the 2 names that I think they should trade up for if it's available, and that's Mikael Williams and Shamar Stewart. If those guys aren't there, I'm not giving up a 3rd-round pick to go up and get my 6th defensive end when I could get my 8th right there. Why would I do that?
Well, the other thing too, I think, like, even a bigger point too is, like, a rookie is never gonna be that final piece. They're a rookie. Even as great as Aiden Hutchinson is, his rookie season only had 8 sacks, 9 sacks.
9.5.
It's never going to be the final piece. I can't think of a Super Bowl team where that's been the scenario. Like, oh, just this rookie.
I mean,
was
Cooper made a big play in the Super Bowl.
That completed everything. Like, no,
True.
it's never going to make that big of a swing for you. You know?
Chris made a good point. Cooper DeJean, pick 6, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Stacked roster, though. You also had
was
Saquon Barkley.
Cooper DeJean
was
the
Cooper DeJean a bigger
final
factor
piece?
than Saquon Barkley?
No, but he was obviously a good piece.
He
for
was
him.
not a bigger factor.
But it was
than-
the final piece. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It was the little.
You just said the defensive line is why they won, not Cooper DeJean.
They made Cooper DeJean better. If you upgrade this D line, Kirby Joseph and
Yeah,
Brian
so it's
Branson
not
can
Cooper
pick
DeJean,
6.
it's the defensive line.
But they allow him to do that.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
That's why they need this upgraded D line.
But
Yeah, but
Nick,
we're
let
talking about
Kirby and
Cooper
let
DeJean,
Brian-
right? We're talking about the rookie.
But when healthy,
Cooper
our
DeJean.
defensive line was doing that. That's why our safeties led the league, each individually, #1 in the league in interceptions apiece.
Yeah.
Because that defensive line, when healthy, was causing chaos. And you're not always necessarily going to see it in the form of sacks. It comes pressures and forcing quarterbacks to make mistakes. I mean, football, that's why I look at Shamar Stewart and I see a valuable piece, because I'm not looking at a guy necessarily for sacks. I'm looking at a disruptor. I'm looking at a guy to fuck up a play. I'm looking at a guy to get in the quarterback's face or apply the pressure to force him to make some dumb mistake. And we have guys in the backfield to capitalize on that. Football, disruption, I think actually, and I'll probably pull up the numbers. Maybe they did a shit ton of sacks. But the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl, I think, was more disruptive than they were actually getting to Mahomes and sacking him. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I know what I watched. And I didn't really watch the second half, to be fair. And I'm pretty sure they put in the second strings anyway. But I don't know, man. A rookie's just never going to take you over the top.
I
You know?
agree. I think you need Aleem to be healthy and Aiden Hutchinson to be healthy way more than you need a rookie to come in here and be that guy.
So
If Aiden Hutchinson and Aleem McNeil are healthy, you beat the Commanders.
yeah, the Commanders for sure. Eagles, so probably a coin flip.
Coin flip, yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you guys: if they do go BPA, they go wide receiver and guard, first 2 rounds. Where are you guys at with them?
I'm not happy. I never said I was.
Yeah,
I want to trade back.
I wouldn't be happy.
And
say in the second round they go trade back, they go wide receiver, guard,
If they don't get an edge rusher or a defensive lineman in the first 2 rounds, I will be
first
upset.
2 picks.
Yeah, and I don't we've all said that the entire time.
Easy.
It's just realistically looking at what Brad's
What up?
doing, I don't think he's going to trade up to get a guy, because I don't think there's that guy in this draft not named Abdul Carter.
Yeah, I don't think a singular rookie is going to be like the final grain of sand.
Yeah,
in
and
the bucket.
everybody in the chat, and Nick, you're the rallying cry for it. Like, we need that stud to come in here immediately and be the reason we win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Give me a name of somebody that you think will be that. I think Abdul Carter could be that. You're not trading up to get him. Do you think you trade up to get even a James Pierce or a Mike Green? Are they going to be the Super Bowl winning factor on your team next year? I don't think so. I think everybody outside of Abdul Carter is very similar in talent and skill-wise when you look at the defensive ends. That's why we talked about it. It's like last year's draft, but instead of quarterbacks, it's defensive ends. And so if you have the one guy that you think is no doubt a lock for Rookie of the Year, but somehow he's going to slip to 15 where Brad will realistically be able to trade up, you're living in fucking fantasy land, because that's not going to happen. You're not going to have this surefire Rookie of the Year, game-changing Super Bowl winning player that just slips to 15. Like, it's not going to work like that.
Can one of these guys beat a guy one-on-one to make a big play in the NFC Championship game?
Yeah.
Can Pascal right now?
Yeah.
I don't think so, and that's what
You
I'm
don't
asking
think
for. I'm
Pascal
asking
will
for
be
an upgrade.
better than when he has Aiden Hutchinson on the opposite side of him?
Oh, he could be better. I don't think he's going to be better than any of these guys projected early second to late first.
Neither do I. That's why I want him to draft him.
Let's go. Good shit.
But to
We're right
trade
behind
up,
you. Same page.
But to trade up for one of those guys, I don't see it.
If he has a higher grade, if he has a first round grade on one of these guys, and say he has a second round grade or whatever it is on 2 of the other guys, I think he's going after the first round guy that can make the difference. That's just how I feel. Obviously, we don't see eye to eye on it. But
For sure. I just don't think the guy's there. I just don't, like, this is not that type of draft class. You know, to get that guy, you're going to have to move in like the top 15.
Yes,
unless
I
something
agree.
crazy happens. And I just in a situation where you have guys, you're talking about a guy that like, there's no crystal ball, right? There's no crystal ball to know that this guy is a certified superstar.
Yeah.
And I know I have certified superstars on my team right now, to the caliber of my team's considered a Super Bowl contender. Then I'm going to surround those guys, or my team at least, with rookie deals where I can afford to keep the certified superstars that I know are good right now.
And is this a make or break thing for you, Nick? Like, do you think if they go
wide receiver guard, I'll be fucking furious.
Do you think they won't win the Super Bowl next year if they don't get an elite pass rusher next to Aiden Hutchinson?
If they go into the season without Zadarius Smith, I will say, if they don't bring him back,
if they don't draft someone,
if they don't draft a guy in the first 2 rounds,
or re-sign Zadarius Smith,
or re-sign Zadarius Smith, I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl. Straight up, I don't.
You think if they do, they are though?
I think it could. I think it increases the likelihood of them winning the Super Bowl.
I agree, but I don't think it's the make or break point. I don't think a rookie or Zadarius Smith will take the roster they have now and be like, you are for sure winning the Super Bowl, or if they're not on it, be like, you don't have a chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Do you think,
when healthy, they have one of the best rosters in football, and that's still true. I know Lions fans are scarred seeing what they saw at the end of the year because you had 22 guys on IR, but that's not what this roster is.
I got friends that cover in Tampa. I got friends that cover in New York. I got friends that cover in the draft specifically. I mean, it's Connor and Trevor. Mm-hmm. They do draft, like that's their job, right? They're draft analysts mainly. Obviously, they got secondary jobs too, just covering football in general. When I talk to them about the Detroit Lions in terms of like this draft class, that's one of the hardest teams to draft for because we have everything.
Yes,
there's not like if you talk about a need for the Detroit Lions, it's a debatable topic.
There's
not one.
There's not
need.
A glaring need.
Correct
on the roster.
They're very fucking good.
You want depth, and like I said, it makes more sense to me to move back to get a defensive tackle and an edge rusher in the start of the second round because you don't have a high second round pick.
Yeah.
And so I would rather see them get a guy at 60 and then a guy at 37 or 39 or something like that and have a defensive tackle and an edge rusher for the next 4 years because all of those guys other than Aiden Hutchinson and Lee McNeil are on 1-year deals. And Wingo and stuff like that. But pretty much everybody at nose tackle and everybody at the opposite pass rusher on 1-year deals. So you get those guys, and the difference between Nick Scorton and Shamar Stewart
or Femi Ojulari
or Ojulari or any of Ozaraku, any of those guys is not worth another pick for me. It's not. I would rather have 2 guys of that in that pool, like Brad said, in that pool of talent. There are a couple guys that stand out. Other than that, man, it is a very even draft.
And by the way, I'm not opposed to trading up at all. This is like what I think is going to happen based on like the nucleus of our team right now. We have the guys we want to keep. We have the guys that are like, again, no crystal ball to know what that guy's going to be when you trade up for.
Yeah.
But you know you got a very good team right now. If you want to keep those guys around, you get to trade back, get some cheap ass rookie contact.
I think Nick Scorton would be an amazing pick for the Detroit Lions. I do. You don't have to get him in the first round, but he has shown the ability to rush the passer, get to the passer, and sack the passer. He's got double-digit sack seasons in college. He is big. He plays the run well. He has shown he can play in multiple different systems because when he went from Purdue, where he had all of his sack numbers, and then he goes to Texas A&M, still leads that team in sacks, but it's not a regime where you get sacks, and he plays the run, and he's the body type they like, and you can move him around on the defensive line, and he wouldn't cost a first-round pick. I like Nick Scorton a lot.
Shout out to Dr. Clappercheek. He says, I think defensive line is a glaring need. I don't think so at all. You have a great defensive line. Anything else is a luxury beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, defensive
even
line.
If Marcus Davenport goes down, Josh Pascal and Aiden Hutchinson, if Aiden Hutchinson's healthy, and Lee McNeil's healthy, DJ Reader's healthy, you have a very good defensive line.
I was going to say, I would say defensive line is a glaring need. If Ali McNeil never gets healthy, Aiden Hutchinson gets hurt again, and and Marcus Davenport gets hurt again.
But that's not the case.
But it's not the case.
They're luxuries.
Even
and if it was a need,
there's a reason you won 15 games. Your roster's pretty good.
If it were a need, Brad would go. He would address it in free agency.
There's a reason you had 22 injuries and still won 15 games because your roster's really fucking good.
Prime example, right? If it's a need, Brad would address it in free agency.
Yes.
We lost our cornerback one in Carlton Davis. Where did Brad go spend money? Another cornerback one immediately right away.
Broderick Martin is not it. We needed a backup to replace or to get behind DJ Reader. What did Brad do? He went out there. He signed a nose tackle.
Yeah.
A good rotational nose tackle.
And even beyond, like, as a backup guy, the guy's gonna start games for you. And Roy Lopez, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have. That's what he says.
I think I'm a little scarred from some of the third rounders where I'm okay to get rid of it. He traded up for Manu. He traded up for Brad. He traded up for Hooker. Fourth round, he traded up for Vaki. And right now, I'm okay with getting rid of that third round pick. That's what I'm trying to say here. Clearly not crashing out anything. I'm okay getting rid of that third rounder.
Yeah.
I have faith that he can get a guy in the 4th or 5th or 6th, whatever. If we do desperately need to pay these players, let some guys walk and get rookie level contracts late, because I think he will hit in the 1st and he will hit in the 2nd. I believe he will if he trades that third rounder to go up.
Detroit Lions defense overall last year against the run finished 5th. Right, so defensive line, I can't say it's a need. Sacks, I'll pull it up during the break because we
Sacks
are
is
well
definitely
past
not
it.
Fifth. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go to break. We'll come
We
back.
also lost fucking everybody.
Yeah.
And Nate Hutchinson was leading the league in pressures until
like
half the season
if you,
while he was hurt.
I think Lions fans are just clouded. They're scorned because they haven't seen this team on the field.
I think they just forget like last year's playoffs. It's not the team we're
That's what I'm
walking
saying.
the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like
they
Super
haven't
Carrier
seen
is like,
this team.
a rookie won't make a difference. How about Jaden Daniels? How about fucking 4 turnovers from your quarterback alone?
Yeah.
Did Jaden Daniels force those turnovers?
No.
Take away those scoring opportunities for you for the top 3 scoring offense in the league?
I already told you that if we don't turn the ball over 5 times, you still beat the Commanders.
I believe that too, because guess what?
Even with
You saw the Commanders go up against a good team that was actually healthy.
And they got schwacked.
They got fucking demolished.
Yeah.
Let's be real, guys. You're cheesing, fam.
Cheese and foam.
All right, we're way past like 2 breaks.
Dr. Clappin Cheeks. Pass rush was terrible, Easy. Yeah, because their
lost half
$40 million a
roster,
year pass
brother.
rusher broke his leg.
And then your $20 million defensive tackle tore his
What
ACL.
are we doing here, guys?
You're cheesing.
You
cheesing,
are
fam.
literally cheesing, fam. People forgot about Aiden Hutchinson or something. Like, I don't know.
Mark White jars.
So yeah, we'll do that. We'll catch back up.